What's up everyone, my name is Alpha and today we're back for another Pokemon Challenge video. Today we're on Pokemon Sun and today's challenge will be can I beat Pokemon Sun Hardcore Nuzlocke using only shiny fire type Pokemon only. Surprisingly, I haven't used this primary typing at all in Sun and Moon. And I can see why. It's very difficult. It's a very limited amount of fire type Pokemon to begin with. It's actually the only elemental typing or primary elemental typing of the starters that I haven't used. So we're going to try it out today in our Hardcore Nuzlocke. So you guys should know the rules. We'll run through them real quick so you guys don't get lost. Anyways, it's going to be a Hardcore Nuzlocke. So I can only catch the first Pokemon in each route. They must be shiny and they must be fire type at least. They could be dual typings. Each of my Pokemon only has one life. If they do faint at all, I have to box them and I have to add a death on a death counter over there on the bottom left. And as well, there's going to be a level cap. The level cap is going to be different from regular Pokemon games since it's going to be an island kahuna. So the highest level on an island kahuna's team is going to be the level cap for the island. And we're going to go through that up until the Elite Four. Then it's going to be a set level. From there, we also can't use any items inside a battle. We can use hell items and we use a lot of hell items. Just can't use any bag items and we also cannot switch. We have to play on set mode. That should wrap it up for all the rules, I believe, except for my personal favorite. Each of my Pokemon will be nicknamed after you guys in the comments. So thank you so much for leaving a nickname in the previous challenge video. If you guys want to be nicknamed after your future Pokemon in my future challenge video, just drop in the comments and hopefully I'll pick yours. And while you're down there leaving a nickname, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Let's get into the challenge video itself. So to begin off, unfortunately, there is a fire type starter Pokemon, and that's unfortunate for us because Sun and Moon has the longest cutscene for getting a starter Pokemon. I mean, I guess the great thing about it is that when you're nicknaming it, you can actually see if it's shiny or not. And we go through this process for a long time, and I think my emulator is actually set to daytime only. So I didn't realize that it was only sunny because I was playing through the entire nights and the entire days on random time, and it's just still daytime in Sun and Moon. Anyways, eventually we're gonna stop for set until we find ourselves a shiny Litten, and it's gonna be a very cool shiny Pokemon. Unfortunately, I was in the moment of pressing B too quickly that I actually didn't nickname my Litten for some reason. So unfortunately, it's not gonna be nicknamed for a little bit. But eventually I'll get around to it. As a shiny Litten, which is really cool. It's actually really good as we're able to get through the first few battles of the game. We beat through the Pokemon School pretty easily. And then we face off against Olivia. Unfortunately for us, the Smeargle on Olivia's team is actually pretty powerful on most occasions. It also has Water Gun. Looking up, we do outspeed it and we do barely hang on and we knock out the Smeargle. And then we can head into Route 2. And in Route 2, we're able to find ourselves our next shiny fire type Pokemon. Our next fire type Pokemon in the route is going to be a Growlithe, which surprisingly enough, I have not used in Sun and Moon, I don't think. Because it's going to be a pure fire type Pokemon and also evolves through a stone evolution. I have not used it at all. I've seen Professor Kukui have it on his team. He shows us the tutorial of using Z moves, but I have not ever used it on my team, I don't think, on any playthrough. Eventually though, we do find ourselves a shiny yellow Growlithe, which is pretty cool. It reminds me, there is a, I think people forgot about it, Hisuian Growlithe and Hisuian Arcanine. Very interesting Pokemon. I wonder if they're ever going to come back to the Pokemon games because they're fire and rock type. Imagine if I had it in this game, so good. Anyways, we're going to catch ourselves a shiny Growlithe, add it to our team as it also has the Intimidate ability, which is very good for us. From there, we're going to actually move on and face off against the next totem in the game. We're going to face off against the normal totem. Well, I guess it's the first totem, so it can't be really the next totem. Our first totem in the game is going to be against the Gumshoes. I start the battle off purposely using my Growlithe because it's not over level. And also it has Intimidate to lower the attack stat of the opposing Pokemon. Unfortunately, the attack set doesn't matter to the Yungoos as it spawns in and does a lot of damage to my poor Growlithe. So we have to switch out into my Litten, and then I have to quickly use Ember into the Gumshoes, and eventually I knock out the Gumshoes, but the Yungoos is still doing a lot of damage to me as I learned a new move called Fire Fang. Pretty good, probably the best move I'm gonna have for a little bit as I'm able to Fire Fang in Blaze range and knock out the Yungoos, which was actually causing the most problem in this fight. Eventually, we're gonna beat the normal type totem and have access to face off against the first Kahuna in the game. We're gonna face off against Hala first. Hala is gonna be a fighting type Kahuna. He's gonna start the battle off against us using a Mankey, which I thought I was gonna be faster than him, but I forgot the Alolan starters are actually very dirt slow, so I was not moving. Fire Fang into the Mankey after taking a Karate Chop to the face. Lucky enough, I do knock out the Mankey, which is nice for me, at least. And then from there, I can switch out to my Growlithe against the Makuhita. it's going to use Sand Attack, which is kind of annoying. So I decided to go for Layers against them. And then eventually I can switch in between my Growlithe and my Litten to avoid the Sand Attack spam from him. And eventually I get a Fire Fang off. I actually get a Workup up for some reason. Am I going for the game right now? I decided to go for a Workup and then eventually knock out the Makuhita, which is nice and all, but his next Pokemon will be a Crab Brawler, which he goes for a Layer against me. I miss a Fire Fang, so I am forced out into my Growlithe to lower his attack stat, and then he's going to hit me with, obviously, a Z move, all out pummeling. It does a lot of damage to my Growlithe. Doesn't knock him down. Oh, he does get knocked out. I thought he doesn't get knocked. It's a crit. So Growlithe goes down already as I go out to my Litten, hits him down as it looks like a 3-shot kill. I get another Fire Fang off and flinches. Luckily enough, that's enough to knock out the Crab Brawler. Oh, it's not, but it gets flinched again. So we'll take that. Fire Fang will knock out the Crab Brawler as we're able to beat down Hala, but unfortunately lose our first Pokemon already. So not looking too good for us. So we're going to have to recoup our losses and actually move on past Hala and into the next area in the game. I think this is Route 4. In Route 4, we're able to shiny hub for our next shiny Pokemon, which in the grass, we're able to find ourselves an Eevee. Yeah, we always search out for Eevees, but Eevee can evolve into a Fire-type Flareon later on in the game. We're going to count Eevee as our next Fire-type Pokemon. As we're going to move on into the next totem of the game, we're going to head into the Wishy-Washy totem, which I don't think is the best idea for me because it's a water totem and I'm a bunch of fire types. But lucky enough, our Eevee isn't a fire type, and we're going to start the battle off against the Wishy-Washy using my Eevee, specifically going for Tail Whips out of everything. And eventually he's going to soak me, so that actually makes me a water type, makes me more resistant to his moves. So I could actually stay in longer and use Tail Whips. Eventually I get a nice lucky crit, knock down the Wishy-Washy to about red HP. It's obviously going to heal up, but it actually works out for me. It's going to get out of its schooling mode, which even though my Eevee is at low HP, I can switch out into my fire type safely at this point because all its moves are going to be pretty useless. I'm able to knock out the totem Wishy-Washy and also knock out its SOS partner. We're able to beat down the water totem pretty easily using my Eevee and my Torracat. So that's pretty nice. From there, I decided to go into firstly the Volcano Peak, where there's a bunch of fire type obviously and near the volcano, and I just want everything besides the Salandit because if we can only evolve Salandit if it's a female. So hopefully we could get like a Magby or like a Cubone or a Fletchling, so any other option. We eventually encounter shiny Fletchling, which kind of didn't want. Actually, it did want initially, but then I realized Cubone was an option, and I really wanted Cubone once I really thought about Cubone because Cubone would have helped me a lot. We found ourselves a Fletchling. We're going to add it to our team and then move on into the next trial in the game. We're going to head into the fire trial. We're going to clear through the trainers pretty easily and then face off against the Salazzle with my Torracat. I decided to go for a lick and paralyze the totem Salazzle to begin with, and then it's going to torment me. That's fine because I just go for a bite immediately. I crit it as well, so I'm doing a lot of damage. Unfortunately though, it's going to toxic me and I go for a Fire Fang looking for a flinch. It's going to SOS a Salandit that also has Venoshock, so it does so much damage to my Torracat, so I have to be very careful at this point. I don't want to lose my Torracat, so I actually switched out into my Fletchlinger. It doesn't knock him out with Quick Attack out of every move, so that's not a good showing by Fletchlinger to our Eevee, and at least Eevee is able to knock out the Salazzle. The totem Salazzle goes down, and then all we have to worry about is going to be the Salandit. Doesn't do too much against me with his Venoshock, especially since my Pokemon isn't toxic in front of him. So we're able to bite down the Salandit, and we're able to beat down the Fire Totem pretty easily. And now we can move on and actually do a bunch of island scans. Now this took me like no time at all to get all these island scans. Once we get all these island scans, we're going to set the day into Sunday specifically, and then head into Route 3 on Melee Island. We're able to spawn an island scan of Cyndaquil out of every Pokemon. I don't know why Cyndaquil. We're able to island scan for Cyndaquil over in Route 3 on Melee Island, and eventually we could actually shiny hunt for it. If we actually fail, which we actually did only one time, we just have to restart if that is the case, and from there we could just keep looking until we find ourselves a shiny Cyndaquil, which we do find. It's an okay looking shiny, I'll have to say that, but it's a really good fire type Pokemon as we're going to catch it and add it to our team next. From there we're going to head into the easiest totem in theory for us. We're going to start the battle off against the totem Grass Lurantis with my Torracat, which has Flame Charge and also Fire Fang to deal with the Lurantis. It's gonna spawn in a Castform, which isn't too bad for us. It's gonna set up Sunny Day for us, and 2 more fire moves and I'm able to knock out the Lurantis as the Castform actually gets my Torracat down on low HP. So I decided to switch out to my Fletchlinger. which he doesn't get any good moves for a long time. So I'm just going to go for quick attacks and roost, and eventually I'll knock out this cast form as we're able to beat down the grass totem pretty easily. From there, we actually go back into Melee Island. The purpose for this is that I realized what the next Kahuna is. The next Kahuna is going to be Olivia, which is going to be a rock type Kahuna. So we decided to actually go back into the Hapu Cemetery and an island scan for our next fire type Pokemon. It was Saturday to Saturday. We're able to find ourselves a Litwick in the grass over here, which you might think it's not too useful against Olivia, because it's probably not, because Olivia is straight up a rock type Kahuna. So we're gonna search out for a shiny Litwick because it's adding an extra Pokemon, an extra layer of defense. So in case it wants to continue to crush my entire team, it has the option to. From there, we actually catch ourselves a Litwick and then face off against Olivia next. Olivia is going to be the rock type Kahuna in the game. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Litwick. Now, this Nose Pass, I'm pretty sure it has a full heal or a potion at some point, but she did not at all, which kind of surprised me. Kind of caught me off guard, so I decided to switch out into my Quilava. Now this was the game plan to begin with anyways. I switched out to my Quilava to use Smokescreen to lower the evasion of the Nose Pass, and also have my Eevee lower the evasion as well. Yes, I gotta use evasion for this. You know what, we had to get the job done anyways. From there, we lower all the accuracy from there, and then we have to switch out to my Torracat. Torracat got a new move. Torracat got Bulk Up as a move, so we're able to bulk up in front of the Nose Pass, and once we get +6, it doesn't matter what move Olivia wants to do against me. It's not going to do any damage. I say that with a lot of confidence. I knock out the Nose Pass eventually with my Torracat, and from there she's going to switch out into her Lycan Rock, which goes for a Z move, and it does a lot of damage even though I'm +6. But I'm able to live it. I'm able to go for a bite against the Lycan Rock, survive a Rock Throw, have a berry ready for it, and I pop a berry. I'm going to use up that berry a lot because we're able to actually just respawn glitch it. And then from there, we're able to knock out the Lycan Rock, and then from there, her Boulder comes out next. Her Boulder does a lot of damage, also lowers the accuracy of me, and also has Rock Blast, which can hit berry multiple times. And I stayed in really risky right here, only hits twice. Yeah, got very lucky there. I switched out. None of my Pokemon can really survive a move against them. So I go out to my Eevee, eventually knock out the Boulder, and we beat Olivia. We got very lucky that my Torracat did not go down, but we beat Olivia, and that's all that matters. From there, we could finally evolve my Eevee into a Flareon. The reason why I kept it in Eevee for so long is because of the Olivia fight, because be careful. I also evolved everything. I evolved my Torracat into an Incineroar, evolved my Quilava into a Typhlosion, and then we're just going to start steamrolling through the trials. We're going to face off against the Electric Trial, which is also a bug type Pokemon. It's going to be a Vikavolt. We're able to easily beat it with my Incineroar because it's not too difficult at all. As you can see, clean it through. And then we're going to head into Blush Mountain. Blush Mountain is going to be this little electrical field, electrical factory, where you can find a bunch of Geodudes. You can find a bunch of fire types, like I think Turtonator's in here, I'm pretty sure. You can also find Torkoal, which we can shiny hunt for both of them. And eventually we find ourselves a Torkoal. What this Torkoal does have Drought, so it's actually not too bad at all. So we're gonna actually capture this shiny Torkoal, add it to our team. It takes a very long time to catch a Torkoal, but eventually we catch ourselves a Torkoal. We're gonna head into the Ghost Trial next. We're gonna face off against a Totem Mimikyu. We're gonna start the battle off against it using my Talonflame, and Talonflame is able to just get like a nice handle on the situation for us, as we could just switch into my Incineroar next. Even though my Talonflame gets put to sleep, it puts in a lot of work as we're able to just finish the battle with just my Incineroar. So this is actually the hardest totem in my opinion, and it just gets demolished by two Pokemon. Two really good Pokemon, I'll say that. We beat down both the Mimikyu and the Hunter, and now we face off against Guzma next. We're a Talonflame against solos pretty easily. Aerial Ace is a great move on it, and I kept forgetting to put it on it even in the Mimikyu fight. But eventually I learned my lesson, got on it, and then we're going to face off against the next Kahuna in the game. We're going to face off against Nanu next. Nanu is going to be the Dark type Kahuna, and we're going to start the battle off against him using my Typhlosion just to clean sweep him. Unfortunately, I did get caught in the middle of this. I got swaggered by the Krokorok. My Wiki Berry activates at the very least. I'm able to get my HP back against the Krokorok and then double kick it to knock him out. Unfortunately though, the Persian comes out and I don't have a lot of answers to the Persian, so unfortunately I kind of went for a Lava Plume with my Flareon as the best move. I nothing on my team survives. As you see, my team is very depleted, and I decided to go out. I decided just to sack my Flareon because, you know, I had to sack my Flareon. And from there, I switched out into my Torkoal, and Torkoal has Drought, and I'm pretty sure it could survive one Flamethrower. From there, I moved to Flamethrower and knock out the Persian. Unfortunately, we have to add a death on the death counter, but we were able to just survive the battle because that Persian was faster than everything, and it was doing a lot of damage. From there, we can move out into the Aether Foundation. We actually evolved my Litwick into a Lampent. And now I'm not going to actually evolve my Lampent ever until I get to 53. And it'll actually learn the Shadow Ball naturally. So we just want that as we're to just keep it in the back. It's not too useful at the moment. From there, we're going to face off against Lusamine next. And Lusamine's going to start the battle off against us with a Clefable. And we use Talonflame a lot because it's just so fast. And Acrobatics is so strong that we're able to just set up against everything and just knock them out with a bunch of Acrobats or Flame Charge because they're all great moves on Talonflame because this thing is broken. We're able to also knock down her entire team. 3 Sword Dance up, which is +6 on our physical attack. We're able to just sweep down Lusamine pretty easily, and that means we can move out. We actually go back into this Meadow Garden right before Po Town. You're able to go out and search for a very special Pokemon, our final Pokemon in the game. We're able to search out for an Oricorio, which is going to be specifically a fire typing, and it's cool that the shiny is actually inverted, so there's more black coloring than red on the shiny form. So it's actually pretty cool. I think the yellow one's pretty bad. I know the blue one's pretty good, but this one might be my favorite out of the birds. So anyways, from there, we're going to catch the Oricorio, and now we can move on and face off against the final Kahuna in the game. We're going to face off against Hapu next. Hapu is the ground type Kahuna, and we're going to start the battle off against her using my Typhlosion against her Dugtrio. Now this Dugtrio, I really thought I was going to be faster than it. It sets up Sandstorm, so that means I was not faster than it, but we're able to Flamethrower, knock out the Dugtrio at least, and then her next Pokemon will be a Mudsdale, which I just immediately go out into my Oricorio because it's flying type. It's bait in the Z move, and it actually works out pretty well for us. So yeah, Mudsdale really can't do anything to us. In the middle of this, I decided to actually switch out into my Talonflame because Talonflame has, you know, setup moves. We love setup moves. We also get the Mudsdale burned, so that was pretty funny as we were able to just wall it down. Ironically, I thought it had a rock move. Guess it didn't. It has Heavy Slam and Double Kick as only moves to hit my poor Talonflame until it pulled out the counter and almost knocked out my Talonflame. So that was a little scary, but look, you know, we survived that. We're able to beat down the Mudsdale and also the Gastrodon, and finally her Flygon as we're able to beat down the final Kahuna of the game. Nothing too bad, actually. From there, we can actually move on and face off against the final trial in the game. We're going to face off against this Komodo trial, which I start the battle off using a Sword Dance, and it goes for a Clanger's Souls, and it does a lot of damage to me. Lucky enough, I am able to survive it, and it lowers his defense, so basically this Acrobatics would kill. Unfortunately, it did not want me to attack because it goes for a Protect, but the following turn, I'm able to one-shot the Komodo as it's pretty easily, like 5 levels below me, as we're able to beat down the Hakamo and then clear through the Mountain Trial, which is the Dragon Trial. From there, we're going to face off against Lusamine next. Now, Lusamine, this fight isn't too difficult. It's basically the same thing I've been doing, just a setup with my Talonflame, +6. No variation at all. No different gameplay. I told you guys, no diverse gameplay at all. Same thing over and over. You with my Talonflame. Eventually, this Clefable got a Sand Attack on me, so it's forced me out for one turn with my Incineroar, and then I switch back into my Talonflame to get set up, and eventually I am able to knock out the Clefable pretty easily, and then her team should fall as I just want to be careful, get my full HP back, eventually knock out the Clefable, and that should be the end of this fight. So we're able to just knock down Lusamine, and then from there, I mean, everything should be done. We can head into the Elite Four next. We're gonna clear through our rivals first. We're gonna beat down Gladion and How. I think, yeah, How, is it Hop or How? Pretty sure it's How in this game. We beat down How, and then now we get introduced into the Elite Four, the Pokemon League. We get ourselves ready, of course. We set up our Pokemon with a bunch of berries, and then we can face off against the first Elite Four member in the game. The first one I want to take on is going to be Hala. Hala's not too difficult. He did make us lose a really good Pokemon in Growlithe early on, but from there, it shouldn't be too difficult as we're able to start the battle off against him using my Talonflame. He's going to go for a close combat and then immediately burn. So that's kind of funny. Everything to touch on my Talonflame gets burned and I'm able to just roost off the damage and also get a +6 with my Swords Dances against the Hariyama. It does a lot of damage with the close combat, but eventually I get a bunch of flame charges and also a Swords Dance, and yeah, should be good now as I'm able to acrobatics one-shot the Hariyama. I think I could have one-shot like 6 Hariyamas. From there, he's gonna switch out into his Poliwrath. I one-shot it, his Primate gets one-shotted, his Crabominable gets one-shotted, and his Beware gets one-shotted, and we're able to beat down Hala pretty easily. Now from there, we're going to face up against the next one. We're going to face up against Olivia next. Olivia is giving me the Rock type Elite Four member. She can start the battle off against us using a Relicanth. I start the battle off against her using a slower Pokemon in my Torkoal. And it shows that it's slower than a Rock Fish Pokemon because it gets Yawn, but it has Solar Beam. So I'm able to just knock out the Relicanth in one shot, which is pretty cool. Her next Pokemon will be the Lycanroc, that very pesky Lycanroc. Now I kind of wanted to stay in. I was kind of hoping it just doesn't use the Z move, or it misses a Stone Edge. No, it went for the Z move, and I was hoping I could live it because I was Yawn. I couldn't really do anything. My game plan was use Protect against the Z move, but I got Yawn, so I was gonna get hit anyways. Unfortunately, I went down to the Continental Crush. I go out into my Typhlosion next. Typhlosion is actually able to go for a Solar Beam against the Lycanroc. Now unfortunately, it misses a Stone Edge, and I was unsure because the AI has been wild this entire run. So I didn't know if it was going to use an item or not. Maybe I should have just gone for a Flamethrower anyways. Flamethrower would have killed, but unfortunately I'm forced to use Solar Beam constantly, and it's getting constantly healed up, which is super annoying. Eventually, I am able to knock out the Lycanroc, and then her next Pokemon will be a Probopass, which I still don't have any answers to. I go out into my Incineroar. Incineroar is able to do a lot of damage with Bodos. Unfortunately, it gets caught in Thunderwave, but I'm able to knock out the Probopass at the very least. Her next Pokemon will be a Carbink, which unfortunately I am unable to attack with my Incineroar, as you can see. So I had to go out into my Typhlosion. Typhlosion is my only option here, as can't really do anything else. I just go for a bunch of Flamethrowers. I should have gone for a Solar Beam, but I was very scared that it's gonna do a lot of damage. Eventually, I went out with a Fire Blast and knocked down the Carbink to pretty low HP. I mean, not too bad. From there, I go out to my Chandelure, and its first appearance, finally using Shadow Ball, so it pays off. Holding off for Shadow Ball as I'm able to knock out the Carbink, and our final Pokemon will be a Golem, and a Alolan Golem that goes for a Thunder Punch as I go for 2 Shadow Balls to knock out Olivia as we beat down the second Elite Four member in the game. The next up, we're going to face off against Accelera next. Accelera is going to be the Ghost type Elite Four member in the game. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Talonflame. Now Talonflame is able to get Sword Sense off and get confused, but it only hits up once in confusion, but stays in confusion for like 6 different turns. I'm able to burn down the Sableye, so I'm able to survive more hits against him. Eventually just snap out of confusion and allows me to go for a Flame Charge against the Sableye, which is great. And from there, her next Pokemon will be Frostlass for some reason, as I'm able to Flame Charge, one-shot that thing as well, one-shot the Delmise, and then one-shot the Palossand. Somehow it's super powerful, okay? And from there, her final Pokemon will be a Drifblim, which I knock out in one shot as we're able to beat down Accelera. And we can move on into the final Elite Four member for the champion. Now, our next Elite Four member will be Kahili. Kahili is the Flying type Elite Four member, and yeah, I was taking no chances. I was going for Talonflame initially and always. I go for a Swords Dance to start the battle off against the Skarmory. The Skarmory doesn't get burned for some reason. It takes forever, as I'm able to go for Flame Charges with a +6. Eventually, it finally gets burned and knocked out by itself. Her next Pokemon will be a Mandibuzz, which I decided to just straight up go for Acrobatics, and it one-shot it. So that works out pretty good, as we're able to beat down a Toucannon and also the Oricorio. And her final Pokemon will be a Crobat, which I one-shot, and that should be the end of Kahili and the Elite Four as we move up on top of Mount Lanakini, I think, and we face off against Professor Kukui for the championship title. We're going to start the battle off against Professor Kukui using my Incineroar because I have no good options. Lucky enough, he actually goes for Stealth Rocks to begin with, which isn't too lucky, but I get a Brick Break and crit down the Lycanroc, which is huge. Great play, great start. My plan was to actually do this just to find a way to set up in front of anything, and for some reason Professor Kukui sends out its Snorlax instead of its Primarina. I was gonna think I was gonna sweep using my Talonflame, but it actually works out better to get a bunch of bulk ups in front of the Snorlax and eventually Brick Break into him to knock him out. And then his next Pokemon will be a Primarina, which I go for a Shadow Claw and end up critting this as well. I'm not too sure if this matters, but we're able to one-shot it at +6 obviously. and his next Pokemon would be a Braviary, which I go for a Flame Charge and it didn't knock out. So yeah, I don't know how that happened, but it switched out me into my Talonflame, which I take about half with the Stealth Rock's damage, and then it's going to Whirlwind me once again into my Incineroar, and both of them are getting very low in HP at this point, so I decided to go for a knockout. Unfortunately, it's going to knock me out with a Brave Bird, so that was pretty bad. From there, I go out into my Talonflame to knock out the Braviary, which is pretty nice. His next Pokemon, his second to last Pokemon, will be a Magnezone, which I try to break it sturdy. It's going to break me in half, so my Talonflame goes down as well, which kind of sucks because that's my favorite Pokemon through this entire run. From there, I go out into my Chandelure, which will go for a Fire Blast, and it don't miss. Fire Blast knocks out the Magnezone, and his final Pokemon will be this Alola Ninetales. It goes for Safeguard. In this championship battle, he goes for Safeguard. I Fire Blast it and knock out the Ninetales, as we're able to beat down Professor Kukui, and we're able to beat down, we're able to become the first champion of Alolas through that. Now, unfortunately, we have 6 deaths throughout this entire run. Were they all worth it? I'm pretty sure they were all worth it, besides maybe Typhlosion. Maybe that one's a bit unnecessary. I could have probably saved them, but I was too committed to the grind. But anyways, that will do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you guys can, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, my name's been Alpha. Hope you guys all have a great day, and I'm out. Peace.